Here's the harsh truth about e-commerce. Around 70% of all checkouts are abandoned. That means that if you don't have a proper system to recover all of those sales, you are most likely missing out on thousands or even hundreds of thousands of dollars in potential revenue every single month. That's why in this video, I'm gonna show you how to recover the majority of your abandoned carts and checkouts, and I'm gonna show you the proven structure that we've been using for multiple 7 and 8 figure e-commerce brands. I'm also gonna show you the exact examples for those emails, plus I'm gonna show you how to set up those flows in Klaviyo. So let's get right into it. This is gonna be a complete cart recovery masterclass, which is gonna show you how to double your cart and checkout recovery revenue using this proven 8-figure abandoned cart and checkout flow structure. Now you might be wondering, okay, why is this important? As I mentioned before, around 70% of all checkouts are abandoned. So if you're not recovering them, then you're leaving a lot of money on the table. It's as simple as that. The majority of the cart revenue flows are also done wrong. Making some key mistakes can cost you 6 or even 7 figures in annual revenue. And this guide will show you how to avoid making all of them so we're not losing any money at all. Now, the truth is also that outdated strategies don't work anymore, and if you're not following this year's trends, you're behind your competitors who are implementing up-to-date tactics. Then, even if you have currently abandoned cart and checkout flows, this guide will also show you how to optimize them to maximize your revenue per recipient. So this is why you need to have those flows in place, and the most important thing is that those flows are 2 separate flows. So you should have abandoned cart and abandoned checkout flow. You shouldn't have only either one of those. You need both of them to maximize the revenue. Now let's get into the flow structure. And I mean, by the way, if you can, as you can see, the entire doc has like 32 pages. I'm not gonna cover all of that because it would be just too long. I wanna show you the exact proven strategy. But if you want to get this full document, which is covering the current trends, which is also covering like most expensive mistakes and whatnot, there's gonna be a link below this video where you can just download this full guide and access all of the knowledge that I'm gonna be sharing here. But for now, let's just stick to the proven structure with examples so you know how to implement all of that. So overall, this is the structure that we are using for pretty much all of our clients, where for abandoned checkout, the trigger is checkout started. For abandoned cart, the trigger would be added to cart. Then you're gonna wait between 30 minutes to 2 hours. You need to A/B test it. Same goes for the second time delay, A/B tested as well. But overall, we are usually waiting between 12 to 24 hours between sending each email. Email number 1 is going to be a simple cart reminder. Email number 2 is going to be showing guarantees and risk reversal. Then email number 3 is going to be talking about discount, introducing it, but then also covering some USP and solving some objections that your customers might have. Email number 4 is going to be about reviews and is going to act as a code reminder. And then email number 5 is going to be the last call for the incentive. Now, as flow filters, you can see both of them are here. Let me show you how to do it in Klaviyo. So we go to our Klaviyo account, you're gonna click on the flows, then you're gonna click on create flow, and then you can type in cart, and you're gonna see there's gonna be abandoned cart reminder, like for example this one, and it says add to cart trigger. Okay, but if you would click on this one, it would be abandoned checkout. As you can see, the metric is checkout started, so you need to have this in place. Which would be your regular, abandoned checkout flow. But then if you want to have abandoned cart flow, you would need to click on this part, which is added to cart trigger, which you should have in your Shopify store. And this one also is not the right one because this is the old way of doing it. And honestly, you need both of the metrics. So let me show you what I mean. If you go to metrics and you type in for added to cart, there's going to be both of them. So the first one is being installed manually. I have another video on it. It's like one of my top viewed videos because it's a very good guide on how to do it. So if you don't have this metric, which you have to manually add, so if you've never done this before, make sure you watch this video. It's going to show up on the screen. And then earlier or later last year, Klaviyo introduced their own Shopify metric, which is looking like this. And overall, it usually tracks more data than the manually installed metric. As you can see, like for example, this one tracked 557 add to carts on January 20th, but the other one tracked like over 2x that. But the truth is that we are running both of these just because, like for example, this metric will catch some events, but then the other metric will catch the rest of the events. So that's why you need to have both. And like, by the way, I would suggest you use Elevar as well. So we would have 3 of those flows, and for checkout as well, you would have both. Okay, so this account doesn't have the LFR one, but overall LFR also has metric, begin checkout, stuff like that. So you'd have both of these to make sure you're tracking more events. It's just as simple as that. So you make sure you have both of these metrics. For the manually installed one, once again, to do it manually, I have video on that. For the Shopify one, you would need to go to click on your brand's name, then you would go to integrations, then you go to Shopify. And then you would need to make sure that this thing is turned on, okay? Because Klaviyo launched once again this feature later last year. So you need to make sure that you have both of these ticked on, and then that you have this green notification that the Klaviyo app embed is enabled on your Shopify store. So that's how you set up both abandoned cart and checkout flows. So then you go once again just to create flow. I mean, you go to flows, create flow, then you type in cart. For the sake of this video, let's make it abandoned cart flow. So we would have this added to cart, and this is manually installed, by the way, just because I'm seeing the icon. And then you also have the Shopify added to cart trigger, which is the one from Shopify. Okay, so this is how you kind of differentiate both of them. And you can also name them, like for example, we do VM, stand for event email, abandoned cart, and then you can do, for example, Shopify metric, just so you know that this one is a Shopify metric, and the other one you could call it like manually installed metric, right? Something like that. Overall, just, I mean, the naming is up to you. The most important thing with naming is that you understand it and you know what is it all about. Then you click on use template. It's gonna take a second just to create it, but it's fine. Okay, and then what I like to do when I'm creating those flows is kind of remove everything, to be honest, just like start from scratch. So remove this. Overall, for the SMS, I like to have separate SMS flows rather than having them both in the same one. And you can see I already have decent filters. So they have the checkout started, placed order 0 times, and then these are like default filters for this specific flow, and you can use them like 100%. They're fine. Then for the time delay, once again, you want to test 30 minutes versus 1 hour. So you would make it 30 minutes. Then make sure that you have the smart sending turned off for this specific email, and for this specific flow, you need to make sure that you have this off. Then you would go on to edit the flow, and then you have the abandoned cart section, which is a dynamic section, right? If you go to preview, it should backpopulate everything that's going on. You can check with multiple profiles if the dynamic section is working correctly. And then what you can also do is kind of play with the styles of this a little bit with this split. So you can make it in a way that it's pretty much like a table. So you're not really able to do this for abandoned checkout flow, but you can do something like that for abandoned cart flow. And not many people know about it, where you essentially make sure you have one column and 2 rows. You're making it static. The cell content, the first one will be image, for example. The other one will be text. And then what you do is you go to image, you copy this part. So for the then you go back to the table, select image, dynamic image. You paste in the variable that you copied from the pre-made template or like dynamic block that Klaviyo sent you over. Then you once again go to the pre-made one, you copy the event URL, you go back, you click it to make sure that the URL or link address is the correct one. Then you can also go to split. Once again, just copy the entire thing, you go back to the table that you created, you go to the text, paste with formatting, make sure you center all of that so it looks nicely. And then if you go to preview and test, you're gonna see that instead of having the regular or basic, the Klaviyo dynamic section, you have this one which looks way better. Also make sure obviously to fix the width of the image, and like it's just make sure it's not too big. You can align, center, all of that. Then you go to preview once again, and now you can see it looks better. It's not too big, and then it looks really, really nicely, even on mobile, right? Like it's still better. I mean, especially on desktop, it's better if you have it centered rather than just like that. And then obviously you can play with padding and whatnot as well. You would just go to styles. You would go block padding and, for example, make it 50, so that the product name isn't like so spread across the whole email. You can make it even more if you don't like it, to be honest. But yeah, this is how you do it pretty much. So right now we added padding to 100, so all of that is very, very nicely. It looks very nice and very solid. So then what you want to do is make sure it also looks decent on mobile. In this case, it might be too much of a padding. So what I like to do is go to table, display, desktop only, And by the way, if I'm going to quickly, just you can, pause the video just to watch everything. But yeah, I would go to display on desktop. I would clone it, go to display on mobile only. And then for this mobile only block, I would change the padding to like 20 probably, just because mobile is, it's not as wide as the desktop devices. And yeah, it looks nice like that. So then you can remove this split, which was once again pre-made by Klaviyo, and you have all of that, and it looks very, very nicely. So yeah, this is how we create the abandoned cart flow with the dynamic section. I mean, it's super simple. Then obviously another thing you want to make sure of is, first of all, that you have only one section for your entire email. So I would move, all of this content just into one section to make sure that it's within one section, because it's gonna decrease the email size of the whole email. So right now it's 35, but I believe that if we, go back and make it 2 sections, it's gonna be a little bit bigger. Yeah, so it's still 35, which is not bad, but if we add links, for example, which is third section, it's 45 right now, okay? And you don't really need like social media links. I mean, I know brands are including it quite often, but I'm not a big fan of it, just because you don't want people to end up scrolling on Instagram endlessly. So yeah, make sure that you have all of your content in one section and then remove all of the other ones. So it's fine. Then you also what you want to do is like double check the links if they're working fine. Overall, if you're not sure what your abandoned cart link it should be, it's always gonna be domain.com/cart. So if you're Nike, it would be nike.com/cart, and it's your cart URL. If you run a Shopify store, it's always gonna be static. It's not gonna be dynamic like abandoned checkout flow. So it's very important to do this. And then one last thing I like to do is for styles is to remove the margin on top on desktop. So it's like, the above default space within the email is very important. So we want to have it as high as possible. That's why we can remove this like extra 40 pixels padding on top, which we don't really need. And on mobile, it's already done. So it looks very, very nice. So yeah, this is pretty much how you create the email inside Klaviyo. And then obviously for the, subject line preview text, you would play with that. Something like reminder, your cart awaits, stuff like that. And then, for example, it won't last forever, or it won't be here forever, stuff like that, just something catchy. You can also play with some tricks, like for example, as the reminder, you can do as like reply, as it seems like, we reply to someone. It's a little bit more like tricky thing. It's a little bit sketchy, but some brands are okay with it and they don't really care about brand image that much. So if that's you, then you can do it. It's gonna have very high open rate. But yeah, this is how you would do it. Then for the time delays, you would just keep on adding, multiple blocks, and then we can just clone the initial email, and then you would just keep on adding those emails with different content. But overall, the most important thing is having the dynamic section for this flow, because if you don't have it, then I mean, the emails are gonna do fine, but overall we always prefer to send emails that do have this dynamic section, just because it's actually showing the exact items someone had in their cart. So it's more relevant and they're more likely to convert because they recognize the items that you're showing them. And the relevancy in this flow and like in email marketing in general is very important. So we need to make sure that, you have all of that set up. So yeah, this is pretty much it for the flow itself. Now let's go back to the examples of the emails. So email number 1 would be, just a regular cart reminder. It will be a design-based email. One of the most common reasons why people don't finish their checking out is because they're getting distracted. So, you just want to remind them like, hey, like we have your cart, we've got your bag. So if you forgot about it, here's your cart, make sure that you finish your purchase, and that's pretty much it, right? Even with the low attention spans, it's very easy for people to get distracted and move on and forget about it entirely. So just remind them about the products in the cart, and that's it. Another pro tip would be, if you have free shipping available, mention it for the profiles that meet criteria, and this will significantly boost your conversion rate, okay? So if you have, for example, abandoned cart flow, it wouldn't be conditional split, it would be trigger split, I believe. So we drag in trigger split, right? And then you would do price. And then if you have free shipping starting at, let's say, $100, you would do is at least 100. Okay, and then anyone who goes through this path, or you could also like add time delay. Yeah, so Klaviyo messed up their drag and drop blocks recently. So let me remove it once again, but overall, or maybe not. Overall, you want to have time delay above this, just to make sure that you're not, splitting people instantly. I always prefer to have time delay first and then other blocks, because I've just seen cases where it was messing up the entire flow. So yeah, make sure you have this. And then if someone, meets the criteria that the price, or like, in this case, it's gonna be price of the item. It should be like value, sorry, not price but value. If value is not equal but it is at least $100, then if like the value of their total cart is above 100, they would get this path where you could be talking about free shipping in all of those emails. But then if the cart value is, let's say, $60 or $70, so they don't meet the criteria for free shipping, you would have a regular path for the flow which wouldn't really, mention free shipping at all. You could still mention it like, hey, if you add a few items and get to 100, you're gonna get free shipping, but I wouldn't talk about it like in this path with free shipping, where you could like pretty much, talk about it everywhere. Like, hey, you have free shipping on these items, and then show them the dynamic section, okay? And here's an example of the email. So, header, subheader, call to action, all of this stuff above default so people can see. This was also one product store. So, when we say Monke, they know what the product was about. It's relevant. And then we're also showing them still the dynamic section with the price and whatnot, and then call to action as well, just to make sure that they finish the cart. And like, once again, the copy, nothing too crazy, don't overcomplicate it. A few sentences that we know you didn't finish it. If you have any questions, we're here for you. We help you out, and then your items go back, finish your purchase. That's it. Email number 2 is going to be about guarantees and risk reversal. Once again, it's going to be a design-based email. If a simple reminder didn't work, then you can bet there is something else on your prospects' minds. And usually they just have a lot of concerns and fears, plenty of what ifs combined with, I'm not sure. So you need to tackle these fears and make the prospect feel as if they'll be making the purchase risk-free. You want to remove the entire risk or the perception of the risk from the prospect's minds. So you want to talk about all your guarantees and reverse any risk there is for someone to make a purchase. Once you mitigate the risk and get rid of it, they won't be afraid to buy anymore. Here's an example of this email. And once again, you can always pause the video or, grab the doc I'm showing you right now from the video description below. There's gonna be a link to get it. But yeah, here's it. Like, so 30 days to love it back or your money back. I mean, as simple as that. Just talking about money back guarantee. Shop confidently knowing we've got your back, literally. This was also a product that was supporting mom's back. So, like a little bit of the words game. That's why the copy was decent for this one. Return to cart. And then we were talking about, the 30-day satisfaction guarantee, making sure they're happy. And you may notice that, okay, but you don't have dynamic section. Yeah, we don't have dynamic section here because it was a one product store. So, we were just showing the product images, and it was still relevant because this is exactly what people would have seen or added to their cart, because this was the only product available in the store, okay? So, yep, you want to also add a little bit of urgency, like, but hurry, your cart is waiting, stuff like that. But overall, we're talking about, like refund policies, that it's super easy to refund and return the items. And it won't increase your return rate, like, no worries. It's just people need to be, they need confirmation that, okay, if I don't like it for whatever reason, I'm going to be able to return it and I won't need to go through all of the hassle. And removing this risk in itself will help you generate way more sales in this flow. Email number 3 is going to be introducing the discount and then talking about USPs, but also solving some objections. And here's an example of this email. So here's an extra 20% off if you complete your order today. It was a dynamic code, really. So, we didn't really need to show it here, because if they clicked on this, the code would be applied. And this is a trick we do sometimes where we don't mention the code, but we are trying just to get them to click as quick as possible. And if they go to the cart, the code would be automatically applied, so they would already see that it's 20% off, okay? Then we are just briefly talking about our USPs. So why I would like to choose this brand specifically, talking about ingredients, about, like not feeling guilty after drinking it, and then, very good flavor, because it's one of the objections, like, hey, this is not, it's a healthy drink, so it might not taste good, but it tastes good. And then at the end, we're showing the code as well, and then claim $20 off, as simple as that. Email number 4, just social proof, reviews, cart reminder. Lack of trust is a huge objection, and stuff like that's the work for me, or I mean for other people. Is it really worth it, stuff like that. So we just want to prove them that, yeah, it's 100% worth it. There are hundreds of people using it, you can buy it. And another pro tip is that if you have those reviews, include the ones that mention customers buying multiple SKUs. So for example, I bought 3 air purifiers so that all my kids have each in their own room. Okay, normally someone would buy 1 air purifier and put it into their living room, but then this review implies that, hey, if you have kids, or a kid, then you want to have a purifier for each of them, or you want to have a purifier for your own room or your bedroom, and then your kid's bedroom as well. You see what I'm saying? Like, this in itself will just imply into people's mind, okay, maybe I need more than one, and it's like very simple trick just to increase the AOV. It's not gonna increase like, drastically, but it's still gonna be a decent uplift in the AOV. And here's an example. So our pacifiers have earned the trust of moms worldwide. Here what they have to say: show reviews, 10% off, finish your purchase, that's it. Like, don't overcomplicate it. Those emails have quite short copy. They might seem long just because we're making, all of the sections spread widely, so it's not like all in one place. But yeah, the copy is super simple. Don't overcomplicate it because you don't have to. And then email number 5 is just another card reminder, which is gonna be adding a little bit more urgency, because urgency is one of the other factors that people need just to make the decision, okay, like I need to buy it right now, or I'm gonna miss out, or I'm gonna not, enjoy the savings, stuff like that. So we want to make people aware that it's kind of now or never, take it or leave it. And I love using plain text format because it doesn't feel that salesy, and people often think it's an email from a customer service team. So you want to keep it short to the point, don't make it long. Some nice bars as well, but yeah, it's just it. So like, hey, this is your last chance, just talking about the dream outcome that someone might have, but then just like highlighting that it's really running out. So click here, finish your purchase, 10% off. It was also like a automatically applied discount. I believe at the time it was also like a side-wide sale. That's why we didn't have the code, but overall, if you have the code that they need to use, make sure you use it. But yeah, overall, this would be the last 5th email. And it works very, very well. In case you don't know how to, create a plain text email, you will once again add some time delay. Then you will drag the email block. You'd have the setup. You want to skip this. You want to type in, last chance. It's like, you need to think about it a little bit longer, but then select template, create blank email. And it still wouldn't be this. You would need to go to then change template and then text only. And then, you would just write like, hey, we hope you like it. So like, your card and 10% off are about to expire. It would be a shame if you missed out on, and you would then mention the benefits of the product. So if you missed out on, if someone is having trouble falling asleep, so you could mention like, if you would miss out on, waking up energized and fully rested, or having the best sleep of your life finally after, weeks of sleepless nights, stuff like that. Click here to finish your purchase, save 10% and enjoy the best sleep of your life. You see, stuff like that. Then you would click on this, you would link it, and then again it would be your domain.com, or your domain. It doesn't have to be .com, but your domain is /cart. If you're on a Shopify store, it would be like that. I also like to format it as Helvetica. If you have, any, like, if you want to make it bold or underline as well, it's fine too. Or italic, whatever. But yeah, then you will click on save, and this is how you create plain text email. So yeah, this would be about it for the, creating high converting abandoned cart flow. Once again, if you want to access the entire guide and learn everything there is to learn about creating high converting abandoned cart and checkout flows, there's gonna be a link below this video. Make sure you download it. But other than that, make sure you watch my other video, which is gonna be recommended by YouTube, and talk to you soon. Cheers.